Welcome to the Lean Lounge, a podcast brought to you by Lean Revisions. Please welcome your host, Jeff Gray.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lean Lounge. My name's Jeff Gray. Here at the lounge, we talk about everything under the Lean Operations Management umbrella. And you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff. And today on the Lean Lounge, have an old friend that I hadn't seen in a while, Mr. Wayne Ottum. And he is an author, he's a practitioner, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself. Before we dive into our conversation, Wayne, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's great to see you.
Yeah,
and
you too.
By the way, old is the operative word in that introduction, an old friend.
Yeah. We actually met during COVID, but on a networking thing. But before we begin, tell us a little bit about, Wayne Ottum and Ottum Enterprises and all that, a little bit of history.
Well, thanks, Jeff. Well, I have been a business consultant for well over 30 years now.
Nice.
Our practice here at Ottum Enterprises focuses mainly on working with owner-operated businesses in the professional services industry. We have some construction-related clients. We work with people in the medical industry, anybody who provides professional services, and it's that owner-operated. We work directly with the owner, helping them really kind of create clarity of where they want to go with their business so that they can get out of that business what they truly desire. Then we help them operationalize that, processes, systems, much as you guys do with the lean concept. We help with performance management, process development, those types of things. And we help train their leadership to execute so that that business owner doesn't necessarily have to be there every day,
Right.
and while still having an operational business.
Right. So you work with small, large, all in between, and
my passion is really, and our passion is really for small businesses. We can work with larger organizations, but that, again, that owner operated in the $5 to $50 million range. But I've worked with solopreneurs as well, helping them, really kind of launch their business.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I remember when you were writing your book, and that's a lot of work, isn't it? You've got to really plan out. How long did it take you to do that? Months, a year?
This is the funny part about writing a book, at least for me. Writing the book didn't take long.
Oh,
the process of editing the book took forever.
Right.
Meaning, you think you have it written until you give it to somebody else to read, and then they tell you just how much is missing and how many iterations you need to go through before you actually get a book that really, is complete, is where it needs to be. So
right. And you guys can see I'm reaching over my shelf, those of you watching. Here's his book, Lead from Strength, and we'll pop this up there too on our website and everything too. So it's an awesome book. It takes you through what I really liked about it when you had me help you review it.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for that. That was very cool because I had never done that.
Well, and I appreciated the feedback, as you were one of my first editors, right?
Right. Yeah. I really like the layout and the flow and the ease of use and the mindset that leaders need to think about, operationally and how they lead their organization in their industry. And so, especially in service where things sometimes aren't as tangible, how do you wrap your arms around that and then, lead your team in that direction, meeting your customer value and all of those kind of things. So,
yeah. And the principle, lead from strength.
Yeah.
The concept is understanding your unique gifts or your strengths and those you lead, and trying to create as much alignment in your leadership style to your unique gifts, trying not to be something that you're not, and really focusing on what you bring uniquely to the table. Your chance of leadership success goes up when you make that alignment. And then helping those you lead align themselves to the work as much as possible. And then when alignment doesn't happen,
Yeah.
provide the tools and resources necessary to help people achieve. So it's helping them, when we're aligned, we tend to soar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
getting people to that place of alignment so they can soar, but also letting people know that everybody needs help. And there are places in their work where they're not going to be aligned. So what tools and resources do they need to use? What help do they need in order to do that? And then guiding them to both be, I guess, humble enough to
Yeah.
accept that help, but develop them as in an effective way that works for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like the working with the smaller organizations, you can get things done a lot faster. I agree there. But so there's a lot of leadership stuff out there. Once you do your first wave, your first iteration, everybody sees what their styles are or whatever. What do you do to help them get through that? Is there exercises? Or do you workshops? What do you do?
Well, my leadership training is kind of a dual concept.
Uh-huh.
There are the personal exercises to discover who you are, really get deep into understanding how those strengths become your superpower as a leader, but also how those strengths, when not managed effectively, can actually create a negative emotional reaction in other people, and then understanding how to manage that to reduce that negative impact. We call it, when you take your strengths to extreme, others are going to perceive that in a negative way, even
Yeah.
though what you have is a very positive thing. That those strengths, when taken to extreme, somebody's going to view that negative. So you have to, basically, kind of understand that, so that
Yeah.
you can manage that, whether you're, strong or not. So we work on that side. The second side is we work on leadership and management skills,
Uh,
such as providing effective feedback,
yeah.
managing meetings, uh, uh, setting clear performance objectives. Those are all the kinds of things that we run through, so that we're not only learning about ourselves, but we're also learning the basics of leadership and management.
Yeah. A lot of tools for leadership in their toolbox.
Right.
Every organization is different. The culture is different. And and I know, I have worked with some awesome organizations where leaders, they embrace their people. They know their strengths and weaknesses. They're always, giving people training and new skills and new ways to do things. And then I've worked with some
Or they're not.
where, man, it's like just horrible, I guess you could say. And then how do you help them open up and understand and embrace the feedback? You know, when I started doing all this stuff, I worked at Boeing, and it was pretty, autocratic, hierarchical kind of a structure there. And it's evolved over times, but here I was, a 25-year-old kid talking to 55, 60-year-old men about how I can help them improve their operations. And they were like, youngster, where's
Exactly.
my fly swatter? And so I learned some techniques and skills on how to manage without even reading the book, because I was focused on process.
Right.
I'm here to help you fix your problems in the system. What's wrong? Why aren't you listening? And they were like, look, young man, when you come back with your gray hair you have now, then
Yeah,
come talk to me.
we
You
might
know,
listen.
we
Exactly.
might listen. Yeah.
Well, and that's part of this, is that you can be a leader without necessarily being a manager.
Yeah.
And
I
so
love
there,
that.
the concept, I always, in our training, we talk about the difference between leadership and management. Leadership is 100% a people-focused activity.
Okay.
Well, management, you manage things, and some of those things are resources, and some of those resources are people. So
Yeah.
yes, you're managing people. However, you can be a leader without having to be a manager. So
Very cool.
it's all about understanding those differences. And so we teach leadership skills and management techniques. At the same time, our focus is on being a great leader of people
I
and
love
combining
that.
the management aspects in that.
Yeah, I love that because then things come together much easier and fluid and transparent. I think
You,
that's what leaders have to do.
you talked about COVID and you know how we met during that time,
Right.
and COVID was the impetus for much of the
Yeah.
cultural changes in businesses that we're seeing today, especially with the the concepts of uh, where people are really looking at their job to
Yeah.
determine just how much they're going to put into it and what's the balance and those types of things. And so one of the aspects of our teaching is really understanding what your culture is and creating a culture that's inclusive, creating a culture
Yeah.
that attracts and retain top talent. And that's one where you just described where there's that caring, where that
Yeah.
whole person is cared for. And that's the context in which we try to do our leadership training, is that there may be some assumptions, old school thought, etc., that we have to kind of let go
Yeah.
and see things in a new way. When you and I were coming up in the business, it was just exactly what you talked about. It says, when you come back with gray hair, I might start listening
I
to you.
might. Yeah.
Employees today don't accept that.
No.
They expect to be heard. And
Yeah.
so how can we teach leaders to ensure that people are heard
Mhm.
while still focusing on performance and meeting expectations for that performance in a way that's positive, uplifting, etc.?
Yeah. And you said so many things there. It was going through my mind. It's an investment in your people. It's an investment in your organization.
Yep.
All of these things that we do, lean, leadership, design, all of these things under this umbrella of optimizing your systems,
Yep.
people, procedures, and always focus on your customers. This is an investment,
Yeah.
and a lot of people think that, oh, I got this consultant coming in, they want money, and then they walk away. No, you get a good organization that comes in to help you longer term, not every day, but whatever the checkpoints might be. But this is an investment, and you will see that ROI tenfold,
Yeah.
over time. And you will be your capacity, the culture, the work-life balance, all of those kind of things. It's all good,
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
and that's what younger folks, the 20s, 30s, 40s, that's the way they operate now. They want to go snowboarding on Wednesday at noon.
Yeah. I won't put an age to it. I will
Yeah,
say that today's workforce requires that holistic
yeah,
approach to understanding that I'm a person first,
yes,
employee second.
yes. I'm an asset and yes, a human.
Right. Okay. To be looked at as only a number, an asset, etc. That's not acceptable in today's workforce.
Right.
And that shift has happened at all age levels, driven
Yeah.
by those who are younger, true, but it's happened at all age levels because people had an opportunity during COVID to really rethink their work-life balance, really rethink their relationship with work,
Mhm.
and rethink their relationship with money. Now,
Yeah.
I say this all the time, is that my generation, and I was born in the 50s, my generation is the last generation that identified who they are with what they do.
Yeah.
In other
Yeah.
words, we are what our work is. Today, people are people, and the work is a means to some other end. And
Yeah.
that's often difficult for someone in my generation to make that shift
Yeah.
to develop the right culture to support the people that they're hiring today. And you reminded me of a quote, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to give it exact, but it goes something like this. And I think, and I can't even remember right now who I would attribute it to, but if you think hiring really good people is expensive, try hiring the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so that paraphrased idea is that it's a pay me now, pay me later. Why not hire the really best people who are going to command a little bit higher salary, but
Yeah.
if you treat them right, are going to be long-term employees.
Yes.
Whereas if you churn and burn, it costs you.
It does. It does. You know, the last job I had, I'm glad you said what you said there. I think I caught on about 15 years ago. I was working at a big, huge company. I'm in the Seattle area, and there's a lot of them out here. So, I'm not gonna say which one it was, but I actually walked in there on a Monday and gave the leader of the organization my laptop and said, "I'm done. The culture is toxic. Just it was just not good for me." But it
Mhm.
was it was a catalyst for me to just say no more. I know I have the skills and the abilities to go out on my own, have the network to get things done, and because I left, and a lot of people leave because of leadership and the culture, and the opportunities. And so, what I really like about your book and what you do is you get people to think about that and open their mind, expand, and look at things differently and embrace. And if you're not, you are going to be left out. The good people are not going to come to your organization, and
That's
then it's going
exactly
to be
right.
more costly, like you say.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and there's no right culture for any one organization. It's
yeah,
only the culture that's right for yours. And
yeah,
if there's one thing that's truly unique about our consulting business and what we try to do is we help organization, that business owner, really get clear on what is right for them. There's no,
yes,
we don't have a canned approach. We don't
yeah,
we don't have a formula. We have a process,
right,
and that process teases out the answers that are right for you.
yeah,
So, and we call it the business growth challenge.
yeah. I love it.
And
Yes,
we call it the business growth challenge. And we've been doing this for 20 years now because it's a challenge. So look yourself in the eye and decide what you really want.
yeah,
Then it's a challenge to act with intention, purpose, and authenticity
yes,
to achieve it every day.
yeah,
And so what we do is guide you to defining it. And then, as you said, we stick around to help you implement that, give you the
yeah.
tools and resources, et cetera, the training necessary to get you from where you are today to what you envision truly for your business.
Right. And that was one of the things when I first started reading this, I was like, wow, I've done a lot of leadership things and situational leadership and all that, but when I was reading the book and editing it, I was going, wow, this is good. I've started doing the exercises, and it makes you think, it makes you look at, your team and what they perceive of you, how you react and interact, how you guide, how you receive feedback,
Yep.
um, and what are your strengths, and then what are your weaknesses? And
Mm-hmm.
things that you can do better or do differently, or go upskill yourself as a leader. We
Yep.
as business owners and leaders should always be looking for new information. You know, AI and technology is
Right.
changing the market so much.
Yep.
Those of us who've been around for a while need to keep up,
Yep. Well, and that's
Uh,
one of the reasons why I created the Business Growth Challenge. I actually looked around for systems that I could emulate, et cetera, and wouldn't
right.
find them because they didn't create authentic results. But the concept behind the Business Growth Challenge is that when you get those things in place and you can act with intention, purpose, and authenticity each day,
Yeah.
the likelihood of your choices being more successful go up and the likelihood of you achieving that success goes up. Doesn't guarantee it, right?
Right.
But it simply gives you a better decision-making forum. And
Yeah.
it was the lack of that that caused me to create it. Because I'd go
Right.
into businesses and they'd hey, what do you got? And I was going, why are they asking this question?
Yeah.
Because they don't have the foundation in place
Right.
to take all of this great information that they see out there. So, they look at AI. Okay, that could be great. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they look at the next thing that comes down. Could be great. And so they end up being a pinball in somebody else's life. Oh, I'll go over here, I'll go over here, I'll go over here, right? Rather than
Love that.
having a context to evaluate
Yeah.
all of that information and assimilate that which works, discard that which doesn't. So
Yes.
that's what the Business Growth Challenge is all designed to do, is create that foundation of clarity that you can use to assess those
Yeah.
new
And
things that
authenticity. I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people and organizations have their own hidden agendas, you know, and that's not good. That's what creates a harsh culture. I
Yep.
like the word authenticity when you really, and that's one of the things I think it brought out in me too, was like, huh.
Do you truly know what your values are? Do you know
Yeah.
what you stand
Yes.
for? What are your ethics? And are you and everyone in your organization acting with that level of authenticity each day?
Right.
It's not easy,
No, it's not. Especially if
right?
you've been around for a while. And when you're in an organization, people put you in their own mental silos. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's Jeff. He's like this,
Yep.
Oh, that's Wayne. He's like this.
Yep.
Go over here to Mark for that. Yeah, yeah. So I do have a question. When you work with the group, do you have like, say there's smaller business, you got like, maybe 10 leaders. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have them go through this together and share as they
Yes.
move through?
Right.
So they
The
understand.
the training course that we do for leaders can be individualized,
Right, right.
or most advantageously is we
Yeah,
take the entire group of leaders through the training class. And so half of the sessions so we do group sessions and we do
yeah,
individual sessions. So
yeah,
each leader will get together every couple of weeks for a group session. And then on the opposite weeks, we'll meet individually to go
yeah.
through those exercises.
Good. I like that because I did it individually. So I was just that one piece of the puzzle, but I can see you need everybody to be authentic
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
share.
Yeah.
um,
And then
and
they can
uncover
create
those.
collective ideas on how to
Yeah,
handle particular situations and make their authentic choices
yeah.
for those
That
situations.
everybody's balanced, everybody's bought into, everybody sees the direction and the vision and know how they fit in that end goal. I think that's very important. Yeah.
And I always say, or not.
Or oh yeah.
And
What
what I
happens if they
mean by
don't?
that is
Yeah,
when performance and expectations are clear,
yeah.
people can now choose to play or not.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
When they're not clear, they
Yeah.
get to make them up for themselves, right? And
Yeah.
so of course they're going to enjoy that because they're getting to make up the expectations. So one of the benefits of getting this clarity of vision,
Yeah.
of purpose, of authenticity is some people will choose not to play, and that's a good result.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because
Now
now
you
you have
know.
the opportunity to bring someone in who will truly, mesh and be part of that culture, etc.
I love that. Yeah. I can see, you go through it, you go, not a good fit. Well, now it's time for me to move on or whatever. Move, maybe not move out of the organization, but move in the right spot.
Yep.
Move where your talents fit. Maybe you're in one department in a big organization. Maybe you need to go to another one. Doesn't mean you have to leave the
That's
organization. Yeah.
absolutely true. So I always suggest to my owners as they're going through the business growth challenge is that the likely result is about 10% of the people will choose not to play.
Right, right.
And that's actually a healthy result.
It is. It is. I love that. And it's just like lean. When you start implementing lean in an organization, you're not going to get people go, let's train everybody. No, let's train the current and future leaders who can help start with the transition. That's only going to be 20% of your organization if you're lucky.
Right. Yep.
And then once you start seeing success, let's bring the next 20, 25% in, or like sitting on the fence going, are those guys going to succeed or fail? I'm just going to check it out first. And if there's success, then they're like, I'm diving in. So it's going to go in waves. And there's going to be some people, I always tell organizations, there's probably 15 to 20% of your people who will never truly embrace what you're doing. And that's where your methodology in this book of yours would come in there and say, yeah, this is that 10 or 15, 20%. That's not going to,
Yeah,
do it in this department. So I really love that.
We have the same basic principle with that, Jeff.
Yeah.
Is that when clarity is brought to expectations, people have the right to choose. But when we haven't, as leaders, clarified expectations, people will make them up.
Yeah.
But they will make them up to benefit themselves.
Right.
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 That's one of the three truths I talk about with regard to performance management. One is that it's Eli Goldratt in The Goal. One of his characters says, "What gets measured gets done."
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So you have to have the measurement there, right?
Yes.
To do that. And the other truth is a quote. And it goes something to the effect of, in business, performance is reality. Okay. You can have all the talk about this and that, but in the end, it's about performance.
Yes.
And then that third truth is that when people don't have the information they want and they need to perform effectively, they make it up, because no one has this innate desire to not perform.
Right.
Right. I used the double negative there intentionally. Everyone comes to work with the desire to perform.
Yeah.
And when they don't have that information, they'll make it up. They'll make it up with themselves so that they can go home every day and go, I had a great day. Nobody comes to work every day with the intention of going home and going, I had a crappy day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So how do you measure success along the way? What happens? What are you measuring?
That's a really, really great point. So the process, the business growth challenge, looks at 4 fundamental concepts.
Right.
Clarity of vision, clarity of purpose or mission, clarity of authenticity or values, culture base, and clarity of performance.
Yeah.
We then evaluate where you are currently on your ability to achieve that vision, execute that mission, live those values, and perform to those standards.
Right.
That teases out a set of priorities. Okay. From those priorities, we establish goals.
There you go.
Okay. So that's how we monitor the progress. We take those 5 to 6 goals, and I'll explain why I mean 5 to 6 in a minute. We take those 5 to 6 goals, we work the plan. When we knock some of those dominoes over, we get the next set of priorities, work the plan.
Right.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
Okay. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Okay. That's how you're seeing it take fruition. Yeah. I love it.
Yep. Exactly. So that's the implementation phase of the plan, and we're just taking each of those one at a time, working them best we can. Sometimes the dog will eat our homework. Sometimes we'll knock it out of the park, right? So we just work them as best we can. I define success as the progressive realization of worthwhile goals. So as long as we're moving forward, we're being successful.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it.
This 5 to 6 thing. And so I always use this analogy.
Yeah.
We've all seen professional jugglers, right? And those professional jugglers can handle generally 3 objects pretty well. When we get to 4, when we 5, they start literally doing what? Dropping the ball.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Right. So that's the analogy of the human condition, is we cannot focus on more than 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe.
Yeah.
Goals at a time. So the process teases out those high priority items the things that are going to create the fundamental platforms on which to build the business.
Yeah.
Get those knocked off, take the next ones, lather, as I say, lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, I love that. That's similar to what I do when I go into organizations. What are your top 3 to 5 KPIs?
Yep.
And how do what you do down on the front line all the way through the system drive those?
Yep.
And sometimes I'm like, just pick 3, 3
Yep.
top ones. And your biggest ones, where you have your most resources or your bleeding revenue, or whatever that might be. So that's that gap. We're here. I like what you said. What's the current state?
Yep.
What's the goal?
Yep.
And then how do we begin to
Yep.
come together and meet those and measure them? I love what you have to measure, because then you can sustain. If you don't know where your target, and you're adjusting and you're not measuring, just like doing a DOE.
Right. And so there also then is the point where, and I work with, again, owner operated businesses, right? So we generally work in it, and I'll say this, in a vacuum between the owner and myself to tease out that plan. But there comes a time when that plan has to be introduced to everyone. And we have to get their buy-in and understanding. And then we have to get their involvement and engagement in those goals. Okay. And that's the moment when you'll start seeing that 10% raise their, right.
Yeah. So they're going to go, huh, that doesn't sound good to me. Or they're going to go, yeah, I've been waiting for that. I love it. I'm part of it. I'm buying in. Yeah.
That's what 90% of the people do is they'll get excited. They'll jump in. They'll be part of it. Now, it still will be change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And as you and I know, people naturally, normally resist change.
Yes, they do.
When it's good for them, right? So in my implementation presentations, I teach a unit on organizational and individual change resistance and change management. So people are aware of those emotional reactions that people have, aware of how the business reacts to change, and so that they can make sure that the positive implementation energy is greater than the resistance energy that is natural.
Yeah, it's some people, when organizations start doing things like this, they think they're going to be called out for not performing correctly, or they've done something wrong. And so they're like holding on, but it takes some time to what's your agenda? What are your needs?
Yep. So that trust factor, right?
Yeah. And how do we address those? What is the fear you're feeling? Well, I think I've had people come up to me, when we're doing gimbal walks and start asking what problems are. We say, no names, what's going on in the system? What are the problems, the issues? What's the impact? Don't say, it's Wayne over here. He never does da-da-da-da. But, look at the system and everything like that. And that's how you get that fear factor out of there and address that and be open. I do brainstorming. What are you guys scared of? What do you like? Why do you come to work every day? What do you like to do here? What is a challenge? What would you like to see changed? And then that way people can open up as to say, you look at the system and not.
And then you fit the solution that you're building into those issues and how this system, what we're trying to do from lean perspectives, is going to solve those, so they can get the personal buy-in for how that's going to personally and professionally help them. Yep.
And then I can pick the right tool for them to use at the right time.
Yep.
To see that success, that measurable success. So, wow, Wayne, I could talk to you forever.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to have, since we've been doing some changes around here, I'm going to have Mason go through this again, and me and some of our team, because we are in some change, which is very good, because over time you're going to change. The market's going to drive different things. Your authentic self still needs to be solid, but you have to react to the changing environments too. So it's always good. Do you recommend people go back every year 3 years? What do you
Well, okay, so
Take it on
the
the
business
pulse?
growth challenge, it is a process that teases out that business. It's a business plan, and it's what I call a business plan with real meaning. It actually drives
Yeah.
your day-to-day business. That needs to be refreshed on an annual basis
Yeah, that's what I
because
was
you
thinking.
need to reset those priorities, drive those
Yeah.
goals, etc., and or when needed. And
Yeah.
at least every 3 to 5 years, depending upon the length of your initial vision,
Yeah.
you know, if
Yeah.
it's 3 years out or 5, then it kind of like a refresh, a more deep dive, reset that vision, re-energize where we're going
Yeah.
next equation. So that process is always ongoing.
Yeah. Yeah. You
The
have to
thing,
keep
the
it.
thing that I love most about what I do is when the business owner, we first did uh, that plan 5 years ago, and I was reading through the vision, and it's like, we have almost everything there. And I'm
Yeah.
going, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. Oh yeah, there's so much in here, you guys. Those of you who are looking on video. Again, Wayne, tell us the name of your book and how everyone can get a hold of you, your website,
Okay.
contact information, all that good stuff.
Great. So the book is Lead from Strength, Mastering the 9 Components of Extraordinary Leadership. You can get it on Amazon. As far as contacting me, Wayne at Ottum Enterprises, that's OTTUM enterprises.com. Shoot me an email. Phone number 206-351-4656. That's 206-351-4656. You can check us out at leadfromstrength.com and connect
Nice.
through us there as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh man, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you out there in the audience. And I highly recommend, current and future lead. Even college kids and stuff should really look at, sports. I mean, everybody who, like you said, you don't have to manage people, but if you are a leader or you want to be, do your assessment, see where you're at, and call Wayne and his team.
Yeah, I've guided literally thousands of people now through the exercises in that book, and I've rarely seen anyone not get a few aha moments out of that process.
Yes, I got a few aha moments when I was editing it and reading it. I was going, I should probably do this. Yeah, let me just do this through the whole book so I can see where I'm at. And it was very eye-opening and encouraging, And I mean, if you want to be successful out there in business, any industry, large, small, in between, whatever. And I like the idea of, every annually, just do a little check-in, see where you're at, Awesome, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we're definitely going to have you on here again. And I probably have some clients I'm going to have reach out to you also.
Would be honored to be of service and value to them.
Yeah, I think I'll be in touch. And those of you out there, listening, you can find us on, Spotify, Apple, SiriusXM, iHeart. We're getting all over YouTube. We're getting all that together. We've kind of started a couple months ago. We're dialing things in. And if you want to be a sponsor, reach out to us at contact@leanrevisions.com. And if you want to be a guest on the show, contact@leanrevisions.com. We're always looking for folks who have pieces of the puzzle. And that's what I like about this. Leadership is one, software is one, PM is some. So I like to put all the pieces together so people know where to go for resources. So Wayne is a great resource. If you need to do a little check-in with your leadership and your organization, reach out to him at Ottum Enterprises. And thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone. Talk soon.
Bye now.
For more information on today's show or to become a sponsor, visit leanrevisions.com. Join the virtual studio audience by emailing podcast@leanrevisions.com for tickets. Follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. This podcast is hosted by Jeff Gray, produced and edited by Make Your Day Richer.